What's going on, everybody? Good first day. Nowhere near where we need to be for game one. But luckily we're not playing game one yet. A lot of work to do. Guys brought good energy. Definitely embracing the strain and the opportunity to get better. 1% is what we're looking for in each and everything that we do. So where can we find those percentage points to get a little bit better? That being said, we can open it up for questions.
It's like to just open things up where, other than a couple limited guys, you literally had everyone out there compared to spring where so many guys were out.
Yeah, we're working. We're going to play with the guys that are here and available. We have a lot of those right now, which is good. Gives us an opportunity to practice the way we want to practice. Some two-spot drills where instead of having 11 on 11 guys going against each other where you're getting 22 people better, you got two fields going and you can get 44 people better and 88 when you start going ones and twos and threes and fours and young guys. So being healthy is obviously a real big benefit for us to continue to push and be available.
Was it execution? You said nowhere near where it needs to be, but was it execution
Oh,
mistakes?
it's a lot of things. It's day one practice, and it's a level of toughness. It's a level of effort. It's a level of finish. Like, if you don't practice football every day, there's some of those things that go away, right? And you got to train them. You got to train those habits, and it's got to be harder right now than it is in the game. And you don't get that just by working out in the weight room. It's just not the same, right? So I'm pleased, right, where our guys were, but we're not ready to play a game. We got a lot of work to do.
You said you had been happy with the way the quarterbacks worked in the summer and in the off season. What ways did that show itself today?
The biggest thing is knowledge, like knowledge of our system. In the spring, they probably had a second of hesitation of where do I take the ball, where do I go, what's the operational. They're much more, really comfortable in the system, and that's showing up.
Is there any intention in moving the practice to afternoon instead of morning? You're trying to get better weather?
Yeah, big picture. I mean, football needs to be tough. We want to strain, and we're going to play a lot of games those points in the afternoon. But it really sets up well with the way we do our walkthroughs, and the way we have our meetings, everything structured-wise. I feel like it sets up good.
Anything significant with TJ Bass today?
No.
And Justice?
No.
Any freshman standout at all? Jordan James, how's he doing for example?
Jordan had a nice run today. That was a fun one to see. Kyler Casper, I think, had a nice catch. I'll tell you who kind of showed up as a newcomer is Chapman. Had a couple good deep balls. I think he's got to continue to push his conditioning, but there was a couple explosive plays that stuck out from those guys.
We haven't had a chance to ask you about Chapman yet. What was it about him that kind of attracted you guys to
We got some guys on our staff that we're really familiar with. Caleb, they were there at A&M, got to see him day in and day out, and he's got great size, obviously that experience. I know he's been dinged up, but I think he's excited to be healthy and go work, and that's showing up.
In Media Day, you talked a lot about connection, and so did the players. How do you feel like that connection is really going to help you throughout fall camp?
Yeah, it's, obviously at the end of the day, when you go on the field, there's going to be tough moments. And to me, the connection is going to be a part that gets you through those tough moments. We talked about toughness after practice today. It's like everybody in the team meeting raised their hand and says, yeah, toughness is a good idea. Wait a minute, coach, are you calling me out for my – it's not such a good idea when I'm the guy getting called out, right? Yeah, that's the way it's going to be sometimes. You got to hear that. So if it's what we're about, we have to put it right in front of us and talk about it each day.
You worked in a culture at your former places. Now you're creating a culture yourself. What's different about the culture that you're cultivating rather than the ones you've worked in?
I don't know how to answer that question. We're just trying to do the best that we can absolutely do right here at the University of Oregon, and what we know wins games. There's a lot of pieces to that, and we're really focused on here.
Looked like Boyle got some punts in today. Is that something that he's going to end up staying in that competition a little bit?
Yeah, we're going to try to figure out who the best punter is, and we're going to play the best punter, right? If that's our backup left guard, he's going to practice punting, right? Right now, I think we have those guys that can compete, but Boyle can certainly help us there as well.
Do you think Marcus Harper can punt?
I don't know. You think he can?
I mean, tell me.
We got to give it a shot. I closed certain parts of practice so you guys don't get to see that, He might have been out there punting today.
You mentioned with Caleb having someone on the ground in A&M to maybe vouch for him. When you're looking at the portal, how important is that? I don't know, obviously Jordan and Casey were guys from Nebraska who Tony worked with. Is that how much value is that in the portal?
I think there's a misconception with the portal that everybody's answers are in the portal, right? Your answers come from developing your own roster. Your answers come from recruiting young guys, right? Your answers come from having intimate knowledge of the people that you're going to go pursue. The one thing I can say about the guys that we went and actively recruited from the portal, we had intimate knowledge of those guys. We knew them well. Certainly is a benefit when it comes to guys like Caleb, Bucky, Jordan, all those guys, Casey.
Who did you know at Minnesota for Bucky?
We had a couple guys on staff that were familiar with players and coaches on staff. We were able to get some good insight.
The big picture for camp, Dan, is the plan to scrimmage a week from Saturday and the week after, those Saturdays in particular?
Yeah, that's part of it.
How nice is it to have an experienced kind of offensive line going into this fall camp? They've done it before. They've been around the block a few times.
Yeah, I think the challenge there, they've done it, but the challenge there is how do you keep it fresh and creative, and you push them just as much as you're pushing your other guys. So we're moving guys around in different positions. Certainly none of them have been anointed to being in their spots. There's going to be some shuffling there, and that's part about figuring out who your best five are up front. It's not just assumed because who it was before.
We look at specifically a running back, obviously ball security, pass protection, sure, certain traits, but what are some of those other traits beyond the obvious that you look at specifically at that position?
Really, for the most part, it's the obvious. Scoring touchdowns, right? Big explosive runs, taking care of the ball, able to protect, understanding the system, leadership qualities on the field. What I'll say is there's some guys that we coached really, really hard this spring, and I saw some traits show up, today of stuff, hey, this is something we want to see day one, and I saw that in the running back room from a few guys, so it was fun to see.
Almost every player in the media that we talked to said how much they improved their speed over So have you noticed the difference between spring and now the speed of the players?
Yeah, our guys look fast, but I'll say like around period 8 today, we look slow, right? So it's learning how to play fast consistently over time. We got to continue to do that and do a great job in recovery, but speed's certainly a big asset for us.
Running shape is a little different than football shape. How close do you feel like your players are to being in that football shape?
We're still about 20 practices away. Not there yet. We got plenty of work to do. Today was a good first day. We got a stacked day on top of another day on top of another day. So 24-hour wins.